Hello, it's Jang here with a look at the LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens version of the Millennium Falcon. The set comes with 1,329 pieces, and it includes 6 minifigures plus a droid. All around the internet you will find people talking about how this is looking like a rehash of the last Millennium Falcon set that LEGO did, with just some minor adjustments to it. But you know how you can't always trust everything that you read on the internet? Well, this is a case where the internet is absolutely correct. This is definitely, absolutely, and unashamedly based on the last version of a Millennium Falcon that they did some years ago, about 4 years back, 4.5, something like that. And I say unashamedly because that was a really good design. LEGO's designers came up with something that looked like the Millennium Falcon and was scaled well and could be detailed well and such, and so they have simply not thrown away that excellent design here. However, they have made a lot of changes, most of them small, many of them cosmetic, and you will see that the interior has been updated quite a bit, but the exterior has been updated also with the coloring and the small details, and you'll also notice that there are a lot more tiles. There are less exposed studs around this thing, and they've ringed it with tiles as viewed from above, so that it looks more like the studs are greebling in the center of the saucer section of the ship. Now the nose got a complete rebuild and redesign. This now integrates the spring-loaded shooters, which you might not even see if you're not looking for them. One is here, one is on the opposite side, symmetrical, and they've just opened up these holes on the top with the nice 4x4 round pieces with the 2x2 round hole in the center, so you can fire the spring-loaded shooters by just pushing down in there. So nicely integrated, doesn't take anything away from the design, just adds in that good play feature, which works better than the spring-loaded shooters. They've also made this fit together much better. It kind of flows in towards the center of the hull much better. The height of this is aligned better, and it just feels more continuous. So I think that's a big upgrade there, and I think they've addressed the least accurate, the least believable looking section of their existing Millennium Falcon design by redesigning and rebuilding this front section. I think it's done much better now. Another obvious thing that's been changed is just the radar dish, which is now rectangular, as seen in the movie. And this is on a small ball joint, so it can be rotated around. It can also swivel back and forth easily right here, but the main movement comes from the ball joint right there, making good use of that piece, so it can swivel around in any direction, and it can also move up and down, and has good friction in it, so it will hold its pose. Now, if you're not familiar with the previous version of the LEGO Millennium Falcon, the major thing that they've done with the design is going horizontal with hinges around the edges. So this is one section that's built here. You see the hinges right in there to allow it to turn. They've hinged down the top plates from there with the angled wedge plates to get the kind of pizza slice sections, and they mostly just go around the entire circumference of the ship, doing that again and again and again with slight variations, but that's basically the trick to how they got such a large saucer shape done in LEGO. It's studs on the side, all of these are just attached on the side, and then they just hinge around, and each of these sections here can hinge up and down, and that's how we'll take a look on the inside. There are a lot of small details that are new and changed for this, but a lot of it is just mostly held over in overall design from before. This is another major feature of the Millennium Falcon just in general, and this has a printed disc piece on the front. It's clear this is a printed exclusive piece on the top for Millennium Falcons, and then all of this comes off to give you access to the small little cockpit section. Unfortunately, very small. You can fit 2 minifigures on there, but it is a little bit of a tight fit in there. I'll just take this off just to show you the console piece, which is actually a sticker here. There's a quad barrel laser turret up on the top, which can rotate around, one of those key features of the Millennium Falcon design, and they can elevate all the way up, full 90 degrees up, can even turn back, It's a little bit awkward, but plenty of range of motion there, and that's your little observation viewport there, which has a sticker on the top. There's another one of those cannon emplacements on the bottom of this thing, and that's actually able to rotate around as well. So if you lift up the whole thing, you'll be able to access that. And it also has the elevation, so if you've got this thing held in the air somehow, then you can still get the full range and shoot at TIE fighters top and bottom. While we're looking at the underside, it is worth checking out the loading ramp, which extends down right there, and obviously that is not tall enough to accommodate any figures walking under there. You can put figures, you can pose figures on the ramp from the top, but they're not going to be able to really make their way out. Last major specific feature to check out from the outside is the engine outlet section, which is just one long ribbed hose. It's hollow in the center here, and that's made of a transparent light blue, so it lets a little bit of light through there. It's the proper color. Looks pretty decent. Time to check out the interior core. All of these panels will flip open quite far to give you full access. One thing that is different from the last version of the Millennium Falcon is the very front section, which doesn't just flip, it actually shifts forward. It has a whole linkage and it moves forward, and actually looks like it kind of locks in to the front there. That's interesting. It actually fits in quite nicely, almost as if it's supposed to have a flight mode like that, but all these open up completely. Now we can see the revised interior. Here's a good place to start, right around the classic iconic chessboard, which has made it through the years. Well, not everything else has, especially on the interior of the Falcon. That'll be part of the story of The Force Awakens, but it's where you start to see more of the increased detailing that they put on the inside of this new version. Nice panel right there with a nice seat, and that's able to rotate around. It also has the adjustable backrest to it. There's a look at the whole area, which uses one large sticker for the instrumentation. There are a lot of small details around, just kind of showing that the whole place is kind of a mess, because the folks who have been using the ship for many years have not taken quite as good a care of it as, especially Chewie. More Chewie, I'd say, than Solo. I think Chewie's the neater one than Solo. Back there you can see the landing ramp as viewed from above, from the inside. Kind of move this out of the way a little bit, so you can see it has studs on it, and when that comes up, it actually closes up flush with the floor. Coming around the back, more of the mess, more of the small details in there. I've captured the color scheme of what we've seen so far for the interior pretty well. Your hyperdrive section, interesting use of that medium lavender color, I think it is. One single sticker right there, nicely built up details overall. A little bit of rest area back here. Those look much better than the previous versions from the last Millennium Falcon. More little detailing around the sides, a couple of levers there, one tool, and just more mess, and also more greebling for the sake of greebling. Still have your little smuggling area here where you can pull up the floor, and you can still fit a minifigure under there. Another place a minifigure can be placed is under here. All of this pulls up, and that gives you seating for two figures, one facing up, one facing down, to operate the quad laser cannons, top and bottom. Now, the one bad thing that has definitely persisted in this design from the past design is that you get these gaps in the top. They're not completely sealed up, and when light hits it right, you can see the interior, and with the brighter and more detailed interior, you will see more color peeking through, depending upon where you look at it. The first four figures are Old Man Han Solo, Chewbacca, Finn, and Rey. I really like the outfit they've put on Han Solo here. It has nice, fine detailing. I like the dark brown color. I appreciate the small little metallic details in it that have a nice little shine to them. I'm starting to warm to this version of Chewbacca. I had a lot of trouble when they first moved to this new mold and paint job, but I'm starting to warm to it slowly. There's no warm-up time required for that stud shooter, though. That is phenomenal. His new bowcaster with the stud shooter integrated into it, even though it has the stud shooter element, which I actually don't like as a blaster for minifigs. This one is thin enough in all the right places, and its overall size is just good. So this one I think is great. I think it's an addition of play value without really detracting from the look of the thing. And if you want to, you can leave out the stud there, and you can also leave out the activator, the trigger mechanism for it, and then it'll just be even more compact. Finn is a really good and an important version of him to have with this set of clothes, and Rey is more straightforward here. Take a look at these from some different angles. I'll check out the backs. All of these have torso prints on the backs, and you do also get alternate faces for all four. Again, too bad about the cutoff on the print right at the base there. They didn't get any print into the back of the hips, but other than that, I feel like these are done nicely. I also appreciate the medium silver color that they've offered for the small blaster for Rey. Next up are Tasu Leech on the left, and I don't know if it's pronounced Kanji Club or Kanji Klub member on the right. I just don't know the pronunciation of that yet. We will find out soon enough. Interesting headpiece for the guy on the right, a reused headpiece for the one on the left, which does not bother me. If it works fine for the figure, I don't care if it's been used for another named character in the past. Looking at these from the back, you do get a nice good alternate face for Tasu here, and a really nice print on the top. No alternate face here, but you also see a little bit more of the face detail for the gang member on the right when you bring that up, so you can see more of the eye patch. That print goes all the way up to the top of the head. And of course, you can't forget about BB-8, the new R2-D2 for the new movie. And this is just the same version that came with the last set that I reviewed, but still a really good one, still really a collectible character, collectible figure, two pieces, two very useful pieces that I hope they will make without these exclusive prints in the future. Just really great stuff. You can turn the head independently, and that is a separate piece. There's just a regular stud on the top there, anti-stud on the bottom. Especially this, I think this may even be a more useful piece just by itself without prints than the base. So yes, this is a revamp of the last version of the Millennium Falcon, as it should be, logically speaking, as a Lego build, and as it should be, logically speaking, based on just the continuation of things in the movie. It's the same ship. It shouldn't be completely redesigned. I think Lego has the potential in the future to come up with even better ideas for how to build this, to solve some of its existing or persisting flaws. But for right now, I think they've got a good thing going with this, and I'm glad that they mostly stuck with it and only added to it. They only made it better, in my opinion. Swapping out the radar dish, you know, that's creative license that was done within the movie. So folks who don't like it in the movie are not going to like it here either, and that makes sense. But the rest of this, I think, is well done, and in many ways, I feel like it's a better original trilogy Millennium Falcon than the last version, mostly by virtue of the interior. I think the interior looks really, really good, and especially the stickers and the panels and the seating arrangements. It's just a nicer look overall. I also appreciate the revised nose section of this. I personally don't really care about the shooters one way or another, but the structure, the design, and how well it fits into the overall shape of the whole thing, I think is a big improvement. So even though this isn't a 100% brand new, game-changing, mind-blowing design, I think it's just a very, very good set. And they've managed to hold on to value. When you look at the price per part ratio compared to the last one, this one is more complex, does have more pieces, but the value level has remained fairly flat. So that's it for my thoughts on this one. Thank you for watching, and as always, please do share your thoughts with not just myself, but also the other viewers by leaving a comment on the video. It's much appreciated. I look forward to your feedback, and I'll talk to you again very soon.